Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey, my friends, welcome back to Tea with Tanya. Thank you for joining me here in the tea tasting room for another week of some tea, for another week of just hanging out, having some real and honest conversation as it relates to our health and wellness, and of course, promoting positive living. I really do hope that you have done something for yourself within this last week. So by the time you would have left the tea tasting room last week, I hope you did something positive for yourself. For me, your girl is slacking because let me tell you, I am knee deep into the many assignments that I have due to all of a sudden they seem to be due on the same day or around the same time. Like, why is this happening to me? I don't know. And of course, now, winding down to the end of the semester, and as much as I'm stressed out as it relates to having to make sure all my assignments are done and all my presentations are ready, I'm already an overachiever. So of course, the pressure is even worse. The pressure is getting worse. Okay. So it's bittersweet. I don't know. I'll probably share this journey with you guys in the next episode or so, but it is really bittersweet as it relates to me getting ready to graduate in May. The best month, of course, because that's my birth month. That's the month that my nonprofit have our event as well. But it's just the best month. But to be graduating in my birth month is amazing. But it's just so bittersweet because what is my life gonna be like after grad school? I feel like, part of my life has just become, my personality essentially has just become, this girl that's in grad school. She's in grad school full time. She works full time. She has a nonprofit, so many different things. And then for this to be taken away, of course, in a good way, in the next 3 weeks or so, I just don't know what my life is going to be. Everybody keep telling me, "Are you excited? You should be excited, X, Y, Z." And I am beyond the moon. Like when I say I'm going all out, I am going all out for this graduation because when I graduated from Georgia State University with my undergrad, the graduation was basically me looking at a computer screen because that was in the heart of COVID-19, that pandemic. So I am definitely going all out for my graduation. But yeah, it's bittersweet. So just send some good energy to your friend here in the tea tasting room because she is thriving essentially, but she's also having a little bit of a fear as it relates to the unknown. Like, what is life going to be like after graduation, especially given the climate that we're living in this country as it relates to funding being slashed left, right, and center. It's a very interesting time to be a public health professional. So it's bittersweet for some of my friends. I'm graduating school. What am I going to do after? The idea of finding, potentially a dream job or, showing up in a different way. It's all a bit shaky right now, but I'm grateful for the job that I have, and I'm just looking forward to what's next. Leaning more on my faith to see what's going to happen next in this life. All right. Before we dive in to today's episode, I just want to tell you I'm so grateful, my friend, for the love and the feedback from the last 2 episodes. One featuring Dr. Natasha Ramsey. And if you haven't listened to this episode, I do recommend you listening to that. And then last week's episode of Period Peace. You guys have been in the DMs in my WhatsApp telling me how much you appreciate the episode. So please, my friend, I'm telling you, I appreciate the feedback, but please go ahead and just, rate and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. So, you can help boost your girl up in this podcasting space. All right. But so many of you have shared, how it helped you reflect on your own menstrual cycle and, to connect with your body as well. So it made me feel good because that's exactly what this space is for here in the tea tasting room. And that's honestly what inspired today's conversation as well. Because now that we are all thinking about our cycles more, from a mindfulness standpoint, more mindfully, it's time for us to take it a step further. Okay? So yes, we're going to be talking about body literacy and understanding your body beyond your period. And if you're wondering what exactly is body literacy, don't worry, my friend. We are about to break it down together. All right? So make sure you've got your favorite cup of tea or your drink of choice. For me, I'm sipping on some chamomile and lavender tea in the middle of the day. Yes, because I need to calm my body a little bit. It's too much. I need for it to just calm down just a little bit. But anyway, let's get right into it, my friend. So let's start with the basics. Body literacy is the practice of learning how your body works, recognizing its pattern, and using that knowledge to make informed choices about your health and life. This goes way beyond, my friend. This goes way beyond just knowing when your period starts. It's about understanding the hormonal shifts in your body, your cervical mucus, your basal body temperature, your energy levels, digestion, mood, skin changes, because that's a real thing, libido fluctuation, because that's also another real thing, and your sleep cycles as well. So it's about noticing what your body is trying to tell you every day, not just when something feels off. And I'm guilty of this in the past where I will wait until I'm at the end or, I'll just say something hit the fan for me to really and truly pay attention to what my body has been telling me a week before or days before. So you definitely want to ensure that, you're more in tune with your body and getting an understanding of these things because, again, it's going to help you to understand why something feels off. So think of it like learning a new language. Your body speaks in symptoms, signals, and sensations. And body literacy is the fluency we build to understand it. All right? And it's not just a wellness trend because I know so many different things on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, Snapchat, whatever you're on. There's so many trends as it relates to wellness, but this is not really necessarily a wellness trend. It is honestly backed by science. When you think about research from the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology and the American College of Nurse and Midwives has shown that people who understand their fertility biomarkers and cycle phases, they tend to report a better emotional well-being, stronger reproductive agency, and improved health outcomes. So I'm not just saying, oh, hey, check your temperature, observe your cervical mucus. Your body is telling you a story, it's telling you something. So you definitely want to be aware so that when you're seeing your care provider, you're better, you're able to improve your health outcomes, but also explain what is it that you've seen because nobody's going to know your body better than you. I won't know your body more than you. Even if we talk here in the TT Zoom, in the DMs, I can only give you so much within my scope of practice, but also, again, it's just a sign or a way for you to learn and really lean in to what your body is telling you. Too many times we tend to listen to what our healthcare providers say with no pushback. Or, you know what, take this medication, do whatever. It's like, no, you need to know what's going on in your body so you can know, yay or nay, I don't think this is going to be the right method of treatment for something. You know what I mean? So really and truly speak up and just know more about your body and understand those fertility biomarkers and your cycle phases so that you can have, better emotional well-being and, of course, your agency when it comes to your reproductive health. So here's where it gets real, my friend. You already know your period is a vital sign. Or if you didn't know, you know now. Your period is a vital sign. But your body is giving you data long before and after your period shows up, okay? So let's talk about the signs. First thing is going to be the cervical mucus. This is your vaginal discharge. It changes with your cycle. So during ovulation, it becomes more clear, stretchy, and like egg white. Looks like egg white, essentially, right? Now, this isn't gross. I'm saying this, it's making me laugh because me and my friend, Hannah, shout out to Hannah, my coworker who turned my friend, the conversations that we have about our body, because she's also a certified reproductive life specialist. So the conversation that we have, especially at work or even via text, talking about ovulation, or this is how my cervical mucus is looking today. Girl, if you're in that text thread, you're gonna be like, girl, what are you talking about? But it's normal. It's important that we normalize this conversation because, again, this isn't gross. It's powerful. This discharge during ovulation literally helps sperm travel. And it's also a sign of fertility as well. So that's how you understand, again, when we talk about fertility. If you're someone who's trying to conceive, these are the things that you want to pay attention to. When you pay attention to your mucus, it helps you to understand when you're most fertile and when your body's under stress as well. So that's something to look for as well. So, sometimes, I may have this discharge and you're thinking essentially something negative or thinking that is gross. It's like, no, your body's telling you where you are in your cycle. And it's also telling you, what, your body's under stress. That's why you're seeing certain things. It's very important that you're able to recognize these things so you can have these conversations with your care provider or, your gynecologist, whatever the case may be. So pay attention to your mucus, your discharge, because, again, it helps you to understand where you are in your menstrual cycle And if something, again, seems different or off during, let's say, your ovulation phase, it's time to call your doctor to see what is going on with my body. You know what I mean? And the next thing you want to do is to track your basal body temperature, aka BBT. Your BBT is your body's resting temperature that's usually taken the first thing in the morning. After ovulation, your BBT, it rises slightly and it tends to stay elevated until your next period. So when you track your BBT, it really and truly helps you to pinpoint ovulation and notice any sort of dysfunction or irregularities when it comes to your thyroid and your hormones. It definitely helps you to be able to communicate that to your healthcare provider. So again, we want to get in the habit of testing our basal body temperature. It's very simple, so because again, we're trying to see what our body is telling us. We're trying to build that story, create that story so we know this is a bit high or a bit low, something is off here. So you definitely want to look into tracking your basal body temperature. And the next thing to think about is the skin and gut changes. Child, let me tell you, the skin and gut changes. Acne flare-ups, bloating shows up like clockwork. Let me tell you, me and bloating, at this point, we go together real bad, and I hate it so bad. But these are, hormone messengers, right? So when you think about estrogen and then progesterone, they both affect digestion and inflammation. So then, your skin breakouts or your digestive system or issues might be as a result of your cycle as well. For me, like I told my gynecologist recently, this stomach of mine, the way I'm bloated, I can't. It's becoming more and more annoying. But also, she ran several different tests to see, okay, let's start with your thyroid. Like I would have mentioned with your BBT. Let's start with your thyroid. Let's test different hormonal levels to see where we are and what's contributing to essentially either my weight gain or, what's going on in my gut and why my skin is flawless right now, to be honest, I'm going to toot my own horn there. But, I do have like different pimples and stuff during either my ovulation or the menstrual phase of my menstrual cycle. But again, these are the changes that happens in your body when it comes to your skin and your gut changes. Sometimes we tend to say, I have period acne this month, but then sometimes that acne does not disappear after you're done bleeding. So essentially, again, this is also a sign that something could potentially be off with your hormones as well. So we got to look into it really and truly. You want to be in tune. That's how in tune you need to be with your body. Looking at your skin, I have this breakout. I haven't had a breakout in so long. That's not your norm. This is another way, again, to track your skin and your gut, any changes in your skin and your gut as well. And then, you want to look at your mood and your mental clarity. Like, you ever notice that you're more focused one week and foggy the next? Hello, that's me. Let me tell you, when I get into that focus era, that focus week, I am locked in and everything gets done. Then the next week is like, I'm going to take a rest day or I don't have the desire to do it. So when I would have mentioned in the previous episode about your menstrual cycle and the things that you should be doing at each phase, it is very, very important, because again, like I say, when, we have people tell, she's on her period, that's why she's acting that way. No, it's not often true. You're not often bleeding during that time. You're at a particular phase in your menstrual cycle that is responsible for having your mood or your energy be much lower or higher throughout that particular phase. So, we're not going to take it as an insult because, sometimes people just don't know better. And if they want to say, she's being moody because she's on her period, they might, let them be. Or just educate them and say, actually, I'm not on my period, but I'm in XYZ phase of my menstrual cycle. And that's why my mood is the way it is. Let's educate them because sometimes some of these people are just finding them out because, they don't know better. But anyway, estrogen boosts serotonin, while progesterone can have a calming or a sleepy effect. So knowing this helps you to plan tasks or give yourself more grace. Because one thing I'm going to do, I'm getting better at is giving myself grace when I'm in a particular phase of my menstrual cycle, when my energy is low or I just feel sleepy, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm going to give myself grace and I dictate how much I can push through to get a task done. When the energy is high, like I would have mentioned, I'm going to cram everything I can in that week. I'm going to get everything done because I know the following week, I'm not going to be my best self, but at least I know I would have set myself up for success because I would have planned and did things during that serotonin boost, And then let's talk about our libido. It fluctuates. We're going to be honest. If you're listening to this, it does fluctuate. You're likely to feel more desire during ovulation because of the surge in your estrogen and then testosterone. Now, if you're a woman here who've ever menstruated and you've ovulated, you know that's when you start having all the feelings. You want to call up this person that you can't stand. You know, you have, an ex that way. Let me call and say, how you doing? What's going on now? That's really and truly what happens during ovulation. But we got to be strong, my friend. We're not going to pick up the phone and call on waste man. You understand me? We're not going to essentially do that. But, this is not something to be ashamed of, to be honest. It's just biology. We have no control over this. We have, no, I don't care what medication you want to take. We have absolutely no control over how we feel, especially, during that ovulation period of our menstrual cycle. Your libido is going to fluctuate. You're going to have a high desire to do X, Y, Z, or you're going to have a low desire. And then that's also okay. You know what I mean? So knowing this, it helps you to understand yourself in relationships and your own self-care needs. Because we know once that ovulation comes, for me, you have a bunch of different cravings. You start thinking about, the past. Let me call this person. Then you know what? If you're like me, you got to just take a deep breath. I'm like, you know what, Tanya, no, we're not going to do that. Because now I'm able to recognize, obviously, certain points in my menstrual cycle where I'm going to have a particular feeling. But also I know in my heart, you know what? No, this is not the right thing to do. So don't be ashamed if you start feeling the way you're feeling during ovulation phase. If you want to call that person up, that's up to you. But, make sure you have some boundaries as well. All right. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just part of biology. But once you understand this, especially in your different relationships, you'll be able to know how to care for yourself and what you need as well. You know what I mean? All right. So let's talk about why this conversation matters so deeply to me and just to you as well, my friend. As Black women, if I'm being honest, we are often dismissed or misdiagnosed. And research consistently shows that we are more likely to experience delayed diagnosis, especially for things like endometriosis, fibroids, PCOS, and, other autoimmune disorders as well. And when you look at the CDC data, yes, I am who I am, with the little data that we have because we know what's going on here. But the CDC data confirms that systemic bias and limited provider time contribute to these disparities. And that's why it's very important for me to talk about it here in the podcast and even just to my friends in general and just when I do speaking engagements, That's why body literacy is a liberation tool. Because for far too long, that the disparities that we face, especially in this country where I live in the United States, as a Black woman, you have to work 10 times harder. You have to speak up real hard or, as aggressive to get the care that you need, depending on what your care provider is. It's why I also advocate for community health workers because they are the bridge. We serve as the bridge to a patient or an individual like yourself and the care provider. Because sometimes you go to these doctors, you're spending 20, 30 minutes in there. What are they doing? Checking basic vital signs or whatever the case may be, but you don't often get heard. And it takes you a long time, sometimes when things already go south, before you can get any sort of diagnosis. So again, that's why I say again, body literacy is important. When I'm talking about your libido and where you are in your cycle and how you're going to feel, I'm not just saying this because it's a conversation to have. It's more so, it's a need, it's a requirement. Because if you don't know about your body, I can guarantee you, your healthcare provider, your doctors are going to know about your body more than you. So you're the one that should be in tune so you can communicate with your primary care provider so they know this is what Tanya is saying. Let me see. Sometimes they'll dismiss you. That's the reality of it all. They'll dismiss certain things because they don't have the time. But again, once you're informed, once you're using body literacy as a liberation tool, nobody can say anything. And if that person isn't giving you the care that you need, you move on to somebody else. You know what I mean? It's never too late to even change your care provider. But, when we know our own patterns and signals, you can speak up confidently at the doctor's office. You can catch red flags early. You can also advocate for the care you deserve. And you can track and respond to stress, which, really and truly, it impacts us in a major way. So you definitely want to ensure that you can track these signals and these patterns because body literacy isn't just about tracking a cycle. It's about reclaiming your body, your rhythm, and your peace. So when you're thinking about body literacy, remember this, my friend. It's not just about tracking your cycle. It's about reclaiming your body, your rhythm, and your peace. All right? And I will say this, I remember someone asked me, how can I start practicing body literacy? And, you don't necessarily need any fancy tools to begin with, because I know, again, in this wellness space, sometimes we want to buy everything that we see on TikTok. Because I'll be honest, my TikTok shop, I have 166 items, 166 items in my TikTok cart. Because again, you're seeing certain things. Do I need them? Absolutely not. But again, that is just how it is. We're thinking that we need certain things to begin a particular part or area of our life. You know what I mean? Don't be like me and have all these things in your cart. It's ridiculous. But you don't need any fancy tools to begin with. Here's how you can actually start when it comes to wanting to practice and being body literate as well. First thing I will say, and I started this many years ago, and I've been inconsistent here and there, if I can be honest with you. But the last year or so, I've been consistent because, again, going through certain things, as a migraine girly, certain health issues that you're coming across, I need to make sure that I have everything documented as well. So I encourage you to, if you want to start practicing body literacy or how to become body literacy, I'm encouraging you to start, and here's how you can start. So you want to start a body log or journal. Each day you're going to jot down how you slept, your energy level, your mood, your discharge. If you notice any discharge, that is, you want to track your appetite, cravings, or your digestion. And then you also want to track your emotions or your stress levels. And to be honest, just 2 to 3 minutes a day can make a world of difference. It may sound a lot when I'm telling you to get a journal, but I remember one time when I was, first when I was really deep into like my really, really severe migraines, and I had to do a migraine log. I had to put what did I eat for the day, what physical activity I did. Did I have a migraine? What time did it start? What time did it end? These different things. And that kind of got me in the way of really and truly just documenting everything for me. Because for me, if I don't write something down, it's either not going to happen or it's not going to be committed to memory. And I know we have our smartphones and everything, but you definitely want to create a body log or a journal, because you're going to jot down every day how you slept, your energy level, your mood, your discharge, if you notice any, your appetite, cravings, or digestion, emotions or stress. Because again, it's going to make a world of difference, but it's also going to teach you. You're going to become consistent in wanting to really update yourself about your life. And then when it comes to any issues that may seem off, you can go back to this journal to see, what, well, on this day, I was feeling this pain, or I was feeling this way, but then like 2 weeks later, so you're able to compare and see what is going on. And I will say, I'm recommending this, but I also have a love-hate relationship, if I can be honest. And it's, use a cycle tracking app. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't use an app. There's 2 apps that I use consistently because, one, sometimes, I do write what I got to write down because I'm old school. But, it's also convenient when you're on the go. I'm not going to name those 2 apps, but, there's so many cycling tracking apps that you can use as well. But I will say, one of the reasons why I kind of like have a love-hate relationship is because, again, the taking of data, and I became much more skeptical, if I can be honest, my friend, when things were just going south here in the US. We have the AI, we have the emergence of AI, which is fine. But then also when it came to the abortion laws or reproductive health issues that's been happening across the state or the country, when they were like, we're going to use your, whatever you use here for your data on these different apps to track you. Like, no, I don't need for you to track me if I'm pregnant or not. Mind your business. So that's kind of where the love-hate relationship comes in, because it is convenient to track your period and just, document certain things that where you are in your cycle and whatnot. But also, I'm not sure where's my data going anymore. So that's kind of why I have the love-hate relationship. But like I said, I still use them. I'm just not going to say which one I use. You know what I mean? And then pen and paper work too. Good old school ways. Like when we first started our period or whatever, we knew we had to document from day 1 down to 28, whatever. Pen and paper, it works too, But you want to track your period when your period starts. That first time when you're seeing that blood, you want to start it then. And then you want to track how long it lasts and any symptoms you may have. Again, a lot of these apps, they do have that way you can just input it. You can do it that way, but you can also use a pen and paper and just really and truly track down. Like, we kind of make it like a bullet point. What is it called? Like a bullet journaling, where you have I want to have this intake of water. I want to do whatever. You can track it. And it makes for fun, relaxing experience or experiment when you're like on a Sunday, I sit down with my book, my little notebook that I have, and I'm writing X, Y, Z as it relates to my menstrual cycle or where I'm in the phase. So it really, truly, it does make a real difference. But again, you can either choose to use a pen and paper or you can use the cycle tracking apps. Go for it. And then the third thing is you want to watch for patterns, not perfection. And I had to learn this the hard way. You're not looking to control your body. You are actually learning from it. So it's really okay if things fluctuate. You're gathering insight, not diagnosing yourself. Because if you're like me, let me tell you. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna Google something. I'm like, girl, you know what? We're not doing this. We're not doing that. So again, I had to stray away from the whole perfection aspect of things. It's okay if things fluctuate. That's fine. That's another way for you to gather insight and not diagnose yourself. So you know, okay, you know what? On this week or this day, this is what happened. Or this month, this is what happened. So you can go back and say, you know what? 3 months ago, this is how things were going versus now. Not only just for you personally, also but when you're talking to your care provider as well. And the fourth thing is to ask yourself daily, what is my body asking for today? Okay. This question alone, it builds trust between you and your body. Right? Me and my body, we're trusting each other because one thing I'm going to do now, if I'm not in the mood to do something or I can't push through, it's not going to get done in that moment. I still struggle sometimes because, again, I'm an overachiever and I do a lot, so I have things to do. But the question that I ask myself most times is, what is my body asking me for today? And whatever it is asking for, it is going to get. I can guarantee you that. So that's essentially how you can start practicing body literacy. It's to start a body log or journal. It's to use a cycle tracking app or pen and paper too, as well, to track your period, how long it lasts, and any symptoms during that time, your different menstrual phases. And then you can watch for patterns, not perfection, because you're not looking to control your body. You're looking to learn from it. And then, of course, ask yourself daily, what is my body asking for today? That's how you build the trust between you and your body. My friend, as we come to the end of this episode, our bodies are wise. I want you to know that our bodies are wise. They speak in rhythms, in whispers, in nudges, and learning to listen to our body. That's honestly, ultimately, body literacy. This is how we shift from survival mode to sacred awareness, honestly. From shame to understanding. From exhaustion to empowered care. So this week, I want to invite you to start your body literacy journey from this week. Start a daily check-in. Write just one sentence. That's all it takes. Write one sentence, track one change, and ask one question. That's all. Not asking for much from you, my friend. Your body isn't a mystery. It's a map. And my doctor once told me that. Your body isn't a mystery. It's a map. You just need the language to read it, right? And honestly, you don't have to do it alone either. You don't have to do it alone. Come and hang with me over on Instagram at the Tea with Tanya podcast page and just let me know, or even send me an email. Just let me know what you're noticing. Share any sort of aha moments. DM me your questions because this conversation goes way beyond this episode. And let's just really keep building this literacy together, our body literacy, because this is our year, 2025. This is our year of reclaiming wellness with softness and strategy. Until next time, my friend, stay whole, stay grounded, and you know what? Sip slow. I love you for listening. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.